What's up YouTube, Phoenix Deity back again, once again, for another Black Clover Phantom Knights video. So, this video will be a Let's Talk video. Hopefully I can start a little mini-series with this anytime there's a dead week for this game, where I can just help some players out with this, that, and whatever. So, this series will pretty much be titled, I think, like Magic Knight Academy or something like that, something related to that. Basically where I will be sharing knowledge on, how to do just kind of like some basic things in the game, team building, gems, equipment, formations, this, that, and the other, So, overall basic stuff for this game, but some people might have looked over or might want more insight into. So, I'm on the site, which has, most of this information, all this good stuff. But the main focus for this video will be team building. So, how do you build a team? What makes a unit good? What makes a unit bad? And mainly what I have to say to that is just combining units / pairing units together. So, as I've said before, sorry, I had to look for resources. But as we all know, I forgot where I was because it took so long of a pause. But pairing units is something that's really important for this game that I think is very underrated and not a lot of people do. So, up here, I can X out of this. This is what I would consider most likely the top 5 tanks in this game right now. So, Spirit of Zephyr, we all know he's one of the better tanks in the game. He's aging quite a bit, mainly because we haven't seen a new defender since March, so I do think that we will be getting a new one and a new null unit relatively soon. Potentially this month's Phantom Fest will be like, potentially Kaiser, Dark Elf Patry, he could potentially be a defender. Tag Lumiere and Lick, they 100% can be a defender as well. But, we never know until the time comes / if we get a V-Jump leak before then. Yeah. So, Spirit of Zephyr is one of them. Defense Julius, Salamander, Fuego Leon, Noel, Valentine today, and Mars. Mars mainly here because his stats are just... You can't deny that his stats aren't good. So, I would consider these the top 5 tanks, but each of them has their own drawback. People don't like that is a offensive defender. They would prefer someone that's more support oriented like Julius. His stats are starting to get a little low, especially now when we are especially right now when the demand is kind of like, if you don't have a 7-star on your team, then like good luck sort of / he's good, but he's not aging that well compared to well, I can't really compare defenders to attackers, but not aging that well. Fuego Leon, you will see him time to time, but he has his own unit that he pairs extremely well with that people love using when it comes to tower or when it comes to tower PvP. Valentine's Day Noel, you don't really see a lot of people running holiday units on their team, but Valentine's Day Noel is definitely one of the top ones because of everything that she does. So, and lastly, Mars, because again, his stats, his first skill is good, his second skill is good, but he could use some help otherwise. So I have like 18 things open here. So that's why I essentially have a list of some of the best units to pair with defenders. And Marileona starts off as one of them. So, thanks to her, the main goal and focus of this is her skill 2. Well, her skill 2 and her skill 3 is like the big caveat of using her and why she pairs well with defenders. Because as we all know, the Necklace of Fate does not last forever, and having a unit that can potentially split damage with your tank is really good when it does eventually run out. Mainly because you only really formation swap if you're getting hit with a AoE move, so that's big. So, because she does increase her own hate, she does pair. Alright, didn't mean to press that, but she does pair extremely well with Spirit of Zephyr, Julius, Fuegoleon, Mars, and I think, yeah, she pairs well with all of these defenders, so you can kind of use her optimally if you do use one of them. Mainly because this X2 hate up, which I'm pretty sure it does go up. Yeah. So the X2 hate up is good, but there will be moments where she will be the main target for a lot of attacks, and if you don't have a character that increases hate or, shields allies such as Spirit of Zephyr or Mars, so if you don't have a character that is able to do that or raise their own defense that's somewhat on par with hers, so Valentine's Day Noelle and Defense Julius, for example, they can raise their own hate. So if you don't have a character that can raise it at least to X2, she will still take a considerate amount of damage. So pairing her with any of those defenders will make a really good team, or like offensively. But there are a lot of other options that, if you're looking to pair for support wise, like you want to make up for Spirit of Zephyr's lack of defense. There's tons of units that can raise defense similar to that. We're just going down the line. Tag Charlotte is also another really good character you can pair, mainly because of her healing ability. So because she has healing as one of her skills, she's able to make up for Julius, your somewhat semi-long wait for waiting for his AOM. And I'm pretty sure just though Julius and Spirit of Zephyr, I'm all over the place. Mainly because these two, and I guess Fuegoleon as well, these three don't have healing skills. Mars has a self-heal, and Noelle also has a self-heal. So they're able to stay on the front line a bit longer. So you kind of want to target something else when it comes to, my best character is Mars, if you want, and like, I can't beat Floor whatever because my best defender is Mars, for example. If you do decide to 7-star him, which I would say, probably don't, then only done on the account of March was the last time we got a defender, so I have high hopes that we'll get one either this month or next month. And Noelle with her own heal, like, these two need healing. He needs it outside of his just arcane art, and he needs it because he just doesn't really have anything else to help him out with. So Tag Charlotte / Charla, still a really good unit you can have to pair up with them, mainly because of the healing is an ability. If you farm I forgot what event it was. Oh my god. I think it was I know it wasn't the EX Jag event, but there was an event with the healing Potpourri where it increases action and then gives you haste on healing / recovery moves. That would be ideal for her item wise, but we're not going to talk about items in this video. We're just going to talk about really good unit combinations. So Dwarf Charmy is another really good combination mainly because of her stat lowering. A lot of people do say she is kind of due for a 7-star. I don't necessarily, I don't know. 7 stars are just kind of weird right now, but yeah, I kind of expect the next 7-star to be either Spirit Dive, Royal Knight, Dwarf Charmy, or I don't even know. Maybe GM. Maybe they'll even 7-star GM like near the 2nd anniversary. So her Royal Knight, Spirit Dive, mainly because Royal Knight and Spirit Dive came back on a Phantom Fest banner, but anyway, let me stop sidetracking. So she's really good because she's able to lower enemy stats, which helps with tanks. The main thing is going to be her Arcane Art, Glutton's Banquet. Mainly because it will lower, well, sadly it's a single target lower, but it's still better than nothing. It lowers the quote-unquote main enemy's attack. So doing something like that that greatly helps out pretty much all of these tanks, all 5 of them. So she's a really solid unit you can pair along on your team just for kind of that reason alone. And I'm mainly saying that because it's okay to you have 5 unit slots, one's pretty much going to be a tank. It's alright to have one other spot delegated to helping your tank out because they are essentially your front line, somewhat you do sometimes easily, like if you carelessly switch, you will run out of your turtle formation / Aqua Deer formation, so characters like that will greatly help. Sekure. Right now she's probably one of the MVPs for Tower, mainly because of Floor 60 Tower of Dreams being the hardest Tower of Dreams so far. And I have some photos over here of what some other people use. We can look at that in a bit, but her having 2 healing skills and then a recovery, a abnormal condition / stat recovery, so overall she is somewhat no different than Julius's arcane art, which there's nothing wrong with that because she's able to do it a lot faster than Julius. So you can easily pair her with Julius, Spirit of Zephyr, Fuegoleon, especially because he has no healing. You know, Mars, Noelle, like there's a lot of options there you can pair her with. The stun and the buff band is just pretty relevant just for floor 60 so far. So that's another extremely good unit you can use. Witch Queen is somewhat the same deal. Her formation, her ranges didn't load. Still a part of the same deal, so high chance of prevent flee for all allies is extremely good. Lowering an enemy's crit and attack, extremely good. Prevent flee for an out, like still extremely good for pretty much all 5 of these tanks. Because once the necklace of fate runs out, you're going to need something that helps you live, and this is probably one of the closest things that help you live in the event that that runs out and you run out of your formation swap without having to reset the game, of course. Vanessa and Rouge, probably one of the second best characters, one of the second best 6 stars, a 7th star, sorry. Mainly because she's able to give haste to attack, recovery, weakening abilities, which is really good. She's able to give damage immunity to an ally, so that targeting your tank is really good. And her arcane art is just about the same as White Day Finro. You get your damage immunity, you get your invincibility, so it's still, like, all in all, she's still a really fantastic unit with really good stats. Maybe prioritize a little bit of defense on her because she will, like, there will be times where she will get targeted, but if you have a character that goes to the front, a character that gives hate up, you know, like all of these pretty much give hate up, it's going to help you greatly. Next up we have Dorothy. Again, her main combo potential unit is with Fuegoleon. Mainly because you're only using her for 2 skills, which kind of sucks, but you know, it's good. Well, kind of 3 since she can lower attack, but it's for a short time. So, armor to self and allies, which is nice. And then healing, it's continuous healing for allies in range, so really good for Spirit of Zephyr, really good for Fuegoleon especially. Mars has his own healing, so this could actually be really good. Like, on paper, it seems really good, like having 2 different sets of continuous healing. Plus, he goes to the front and shields allies from all damage, so anyone behind him won't get hit by AoE moves, so that's, like, she's pretty solid support-wise. Next up, Lumiere. Mainly because his great defense increase is extremely good. And with his arcane art, you don't really have to worry about crit rate, so the defense up extremely helps Spirit of Zephyr because he doesn't have it. There's some confliction with Julius because Julius raises his own defense, but his defense increase is not on par with Lumiere's, so there is a chance that he will override that buff, which sucks, but it's somewhat of a trade-off. Fuegoleon doesn't give himself defense, so him getting that massive defense buff is good. He has his own defense buff, so that's kind of conflicting, and then Noelle has her own defense buff, so also conflicting, but Lumiere's defense buff is definitely one of the best in the game. So pairing him with pretty much any of your defenders was not a mistake. Next up, Charlotte. If you're like, oh, what's Charlotte doing here? Actually, she's on pretty much on here because she's a really good unit just for tower in general. So her main thing being the guaranteed chance of applying maximum slip and a nearly full AoE of lowering the enemy's defense. So don't sleep on her. That's pretty much the only thing I wanted to say about her. We can move on. Zora. So 7-star Zora. I haven't updated the site yet, so sorry about that. Well, I haven't added the new units. Triss, thankfully, thank you, Triss. Added the new event and new login, so shout outs to you. Hobie and Hero added the global side, so shout outs to them. but he's still extremely good. Well, he was extremely good when he dropped for a few months, but then characters with better stats just kind of overran the game. But his 7-star version now is just extremely, like, it's still good. Being able to delay enemy arcane art is really good. This gets an increase. His skill 2 gets an increase. His skill 3 being the best thing about him, damage immunity plus they can attack back. So giving that to an offensive tank, for example, like Spirit of Zephyr, Boygolion, like that's really good. For Julius, Julius already has invincibility, so it's kind of iffy, but it does somewhat stack. Like, you won't take any damage because of the invincibility, and you can still hit back, but like 2 damage. So Mars, he's 5 damage. So you guys get the point. Where Zora is really good if you are running an offensive tank. So he's like, he still amazes me. You know, that 7-star buff really did a lot for him. Next up, Jammer Finral. Why is he on here? So, like, if you're able to disable the enemy in a way, shape, or form, you're pretty much going to be on you're a really good support unit for a defender list. 2 actions to an ally, and give damage immunity. Like, if he gets a 7-star buff, he'll be insane. Jammers are low-key looking to be one of the better types in this game. But, being able to get, again, damage immunity to any of these 5 people are really good, especially Spirit of Zephyr, because that's probably one of his biggest fallouts. You know, after his damage immunity does run out, like, all he has is the shielding the ally, so being able to reapply that or giving him a chance to use that skill again is really good. Same can be said about, like, giving any character extra action is just incredibly good. You know, so he's on there for a reason. If he gets a 7-star buff, 100%. 100%. Like, he's so good. So good. Surprise, Tag Ravitch. Now, he's mainly on here, same reason as Charlotte, because he's really good for tower. That's all I'm going to say. Next up, Tag William and Julius. Mainly because of their delay in enemy attack. So, delay enemy attack, lower enemy attack, chance to inflict stop, high chance to inflict stop, delay toughening. Like, all these units are really good for tower. I really didn't see much people use them for, like, this past tower, but they're still really good. And this is mainly to help global players because, like, in 3 months you guys will have the tower with 61 floors, and I'll tell you that much, that floor is hell. We're gonna skip over that unit because, you know, good last unit. Next up, Tag Asta and Yami. Reason they're on here is because, again, they can take buffs from the enemy, which is really good. So if the enemy has an attack buff plus a crit buff, taking that away will help your defender in great ways. Medium HP recovery, and then heal status, extremely good. They're able to gain damage immunity, which kind of isn't relevant exactly. So, well, it's relevant if you're fighting an enemy that puts themselves on the front line. So you take that buff, they're able to give themselves damage immunity outside of arcane arts, but it is extra small, so kind of iffy. Null Nozel, kind of a surprise on the list, but he's still actually really good, mainly for the fact of just his AoM. And yes, it does take a long time to get there, somewhat, but it's still worth mentioning. Devil pretty much just speaks for himself. Move to the front, formation seal, damage, and AoM seal. Like, stopping your enemy from doing that is still extremely good. Spirit Dive and Black Asta. So this is more so for the people who don't have the Necklace of Fate, because that's one of the biggest things for this game, I feel. That if you don't have the Necklace of Fate, you're going to have quite a difficult time trying to beat tower, trying to clear tower, but by all means, it is not impossible. So this extremely short invincibility can help for just about like 2 or 3 hits early game when it comes to like Spirit of Zephyr. Julius, like, doing that will give Julius some time, so like queue up his skill 3, doing that for Fuegoleon is really good. Mars is good, especially when he's at the front. He'll take no damage and he'll be at the front. So, character like that, really good. Last but not least, White Defenderl. Self-explanatory at this point. I don't think we need to talk about him. He's just all around really good. So next up, we will have to talk about Tower. So here is floor 60 of Tower. It's hard to see, sorry about that, and the pixels are bad. So floor 60 of Tower of Dreams for when there's 61 floors will be Vanessa and Rouge, so hastening for allies, extremely annoying. Devil, Formation Seal, and AOM Seal, extremely annoying. Sekire, who's able to heal allies. Lumiere, who's able to buff allies. Attack, defense, and crit. And then Tag Ravitch, who's able to steal a buff from one of your characters. So, really major. You could see that he pretty much stole Black Divider's... Well, something happened here. I don't know. But, still really relevant. This is 100% one of the harder floors for Tower right now. Here's an example team of someone that was able to beat it. So, it's pretty good team overall. They're not using a defender. It's like, oh, what's the point of this video if they're not using a defender? But you know, there's options because White Defenderl, that immunity is extremely good. Here's another team, better resolution. That's able to beat. Well, that's the same team that was able to beat it. Next up, we have another team. Hard to see. Sorry about that, but. Spirit of Zephyr paired with Mira Leona, that's the pair I usually go with. Black Dividers here. There's another pairing because Sekire is able to remove the formation ceiling that Devil can apply, so that's extremely good. They cause disruption as well as just being able to clear out enemies, so overall another good team. Here's another team of Sani, so captain of the blue Aqua Deer in the Discord. He uses he uses Charlotte as a great defensive reduction, Black Divider, Tag Spirit Dive, Sekire, and Tag Magna and Luck. So don't need that. So a lot of these good characters, you know, in another video I'll talk about, you know, relics you can use that can easily replace, you know, some of these high tier relics. I'll look at both global and JP mainly because it will be significant. I don't know why I went to... I should really add a tab there so you could just swap over to accessories. But that will conclude this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this, you know, kind of mini-series does well for dead weeks where I don't really plan on summoning or I don't really have a unit to showcase. So yeah, that will wrap up this video. Thank you all for watching. Love you guys. Stay safe out there. That should be 4-star. What's happening here? Wait, no, I'm stupid. That's right. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.